Hi, parents and guardians. My name is Joseph All, and I'm very excited to be your child's math teacher this year. I know this is not a traditional way that we would typically conduct open house, but I am excited to have the opportunity to share some information with you about what your child will be learning this year and what the format will be for their course in pre-calculus. So I'm going to present my screen so that you can see a presentation here. So this should be on your screen right now. Here's going to be some quick information that we go through about the pre-calculus course. And if you have any questions for me, my email will be at the end of the presentation, and certainly feel free to reach out and let me know. So a quick bit about me. This is my 15th year teaching in Fairport, and I got married on Pi Day to another math teacher who's right over here. She taught for 13 years at the high school and is now a STEAM instructional coach for the district. I have three kids, or we have three kids together. Elodie in the middle here, who's a first grader at JA, she's 6. And then our twins, Mason and Avery, they all keep us very, very busy. A quick bit about the course in pre-calculus. So students who have successfully completed Algebra 2 will find success in pre-calc. And upon leaving Algebra 2, students have two options of a course to take. They can take Math 12 or they can take pre-calculus if they took Algebra 2 Regents the year before. And pre-calculus would be the more rigorous of the two and probably a slightly faster pace. So I'm glad that your students have challenged themselves by taking this course this year. And you'll notice that a lot of these topics here are things that your children will be familiar with because they're building upon topics that they've learned in their prior years of mathematics. But by the end of our course, we do get into some limits and an introduction into calculus to prepare them for that next level, whether they're taking calculus as a senior here at the high school next year, or for those seniors that will take a freshman year of calculus at their future college. Here are the course materials that I've shared with the students. So many of them have come prepared with these materials already. Some things of note that I think are really important for this course are certainly a graphing calculator. That's a requirement for a lot of what we do in this class. So please have your student reach out to me if they've misplaced their calculator, or if their calculator breaks. We can sign them out just like we would a textbook. And then at the end, headphones, earbuds, and a Wi-Fi enabled device. I think those are important for some of their in-person days as well. And I know the district is working on getting students devices so that they can have access to them in class. And I'll explain a little bit more about that later. Our math department grading policy at the high school is that homework accounts for 10% of their grade, and then tests, quizzes, and projects would be the other 90%. The course pre-calculus is a midterm exam in January and a final exam in June. One quick note about that is that the exam in June is not a Regents exam. So the Algebra 2 Regents exam that would have happened at the end of last year, that would be the last New York State Regents exam that's offered in mathematics. So the final exam that's in June is a teacher-generated test, and it does happen to only cover the second half of the year as far as content is concerned. The midterm, of course, would then just cover the first half of the school year. These are hybrid learning expectations that I shared with your students on the first few days of school. So I'll go through these quickly. Certainly feel free to pause the video along the way and read through the slides if I'm going too fast. So the primary format I plan on using this year is what's known as a flipped classroom. I'm sure you've heard a lot of terms recently about asynchronous versus synchronous learning. So a flipped classroom is considered to be asynchronous because students will be learning and watching videos each night at home. While they're watching their videos, it's their responsibility to take notes. Sometimes these notes will be in packet form that they can write in their packets. Other times they might be taking notes by hand on just loose leaf paper. The videos average from 20 to 25 minutes each night. Some have been much less than that at the beginning of the year, but I would say about the max would be about 25 minutes that they need to take their notes. And when they come to class the next day, I'm going to recap the prior night's video, see if they have any questions for me, go over some homework assignments. And after that question and answer period, students will work on homework in class. So hence why this is called a flipped classroom. They're working on the homework while they're in class with me so they can check in, see if they have any questions for me. And then they have to submit that by midnight of the day it's assigned. If your student is all virtual this year, it's very important that they attend class with the Monday, Thursday cohort. So I should be seeing them on my screen for a full period Mondays and Thursdays. For students who are remote on any given day. On remote days, students are still required to have some FaceTime with me using the Google Meet link at the top of our Google Classroom. So what they'll do is they'll log in and they'll get a little bit of a recap from what they watched in the prior night's lesson. I'll go over the homework that they would have submitted the night before. And then after that question and answer period, while the students in class are working on the homework, the students who are remote can also stay logged on to the Google Meet and ask questions about their homework, or I've given them permission at that point to log off and do the homework on their own. So they may at some point decide, you know what, if this is an easier topic for me, I'll just kind of work on it, in the comfort of my own home. I don't need to stay logged on to the Google Meet. If it becomes tougher, they may want to stay on in case questions do come up. And then I said at the bottom here, if your child does ever have a conflict attending on a remote day, just tell them to reach out to me and I will make sure that they get the information that they missed as far as the recap goes, and they can ask me any homework questions. On Wednesdays, we had our first Wednesday recently where students are required to attend for 20-minute class periods. It's a little bit of a different schedule, and I think the students did a great job on our first Wednesday making this happen. But we will use our time on Wednesdays to, depending on where we are in a current unit, we'll either move on to the next lesson if it happens to be a short lesson, or we may use a Wednesday to just recap material from our current unit of study. If your child needs math assistance or extra help, at the high school we have a math assistance center available all 9 periods a day, except Wednesdays when we have our special schedule. This will be done all virtually this year. So even if your student is in person, they will need to attend math assistance virtually. And then after school help can also be provided virtually using links that are provided in Google Classroom. I've made a note here that I'm available second period in Math Assistance Center. So if your student is remote one day and they happen to be free second period, then they can certainly join me virtually from home and ask any questions. So I'm going to show you a little bit about Google Classroom right now and where your students will be accessing some of the information that they'll be working on this year. So if I switch over to our Google Classroom, I know that your child might have me a different class period, but their Google Classroom will look identical to the one I'm showing you right now. So the link for this meeting at the top of class, that's what they use to join me every day from home if they happen to be remote that day. In this stream section of Google Classroom, students would see the link for math assistance that I was just mentioning a moment ago. If your student needs some after school help, they can also join virtually with this link below that. In the classwork section of Google Classroom, this is where students will find, I'll show you Unit 1 quick here. Here's any of the note packet information that they may want access to. They will receive a hard copy of this, but in case they forget it, there it is. Every lesson, if I click on day 1, you'll see that this is a video. The first lesson was 10 minutes, and then they have to submit a homework assignment associated with that video. These homeworks are what they're working on in class. Students have done a really nice job so far, keeping up with daily homeworks and watching the videos, but certainly have your child reach out to me if they're struggling at all to keep up with the pace, and we will make a plan together to work on that. So that was just a quick look into Google Classroom there. Hopefully your child has done well to figure out some of the key features that are associated with the pre-calculus course as it relates to Google Classroom. And that's our presentation today. So if you have any questions for me, please feel free to email me at jahl@fairport.org, and I'd be happy to get back to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video today. And I really do look forward to getting to know your child better throughout the school year. Thank you.